On the field now, your Sports Pass.
This is Doug Thompson, and welcome to Sports Pass. In this episode of Sports Pass, filed on October 10th, 2017, the Sports Pass team and I bring you the latest of the country's greatest high school football action from the Northeast, including New Jersey, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Boston. Sports Pass is powered by ScoreStream, the free app where you can see real-time scores of your favorite local high school teams. You can also share photos, videos, and chat and cheer for your favorite teams. Our weekly roundup of the best high school football action from across the country is about to kick off.
Stretch it out and hydrate. The Sports Pass lineup is in, so let's get started.
Great football being played by the Catholic schools in North Jersey, where there have been and will be a ton of great matchups. No surprise when you consider they've had four teams consistently ranked in high school football America's top 100. St. Peter's Prep ranks 25th this week, Bergen Catholic 40th, and St. Joseph Regional at 46th. Paramus Catholic was 52nd last week, but they've fallen out of the top 100 after losing to the Lions of Pope John. The Lions moving into the top 100 at 98th this week, and that's where we'll kick off our game coverage from last week.
Sports Pass to New
Jersey. Paramus Catholic looking to break a two-game losing streak coming into this one. They lost by 9 to St. Peter's Prep and 17 to Bergen Catholic the previous two games. Pope John coming in looking to keep their undefeated record intact. The Lions certainly did that, and in dominating fashion from start to finish, opening the game with a methodical march down the field on the backs of a strong O-line and running back Burrell Neal, who punched it in for 6 to set the tone. Neal finished with 3 scores and is a threat to break a big one every time he touches the ball. A thunder and lightning combo in the backfield with Neal paired with Terrence Jones, who gets most of the carries and grinds defenses down, complements the speediness of Neal quite well. And congrats to Terrence on his recent offer from Kent State. The Lions D, anchored by stud linebacker Jake Brown, who excels on the wrestling mat and in the classroom, so much so that he recently received an offer from Penn for both football and wrestling, stacking that one on top of offers from Army and a host of Ivy League schools like Harvard and Princeton. Pope John will be tested big time this weekend as they take on St. Joseph Regional. The Green Knights played an emotional game against Don Bosco Saturday. A few off-the-field issues between the teams providing some extra fuel for both sides. St. Joseph's senior quarterback Nick Patty was very efficient all night and on point when it counted most. Down 15-10 with just under 2 minutes left to play in the game and no timeouts, Patty led the Green Knights on an 80-yard drive that culminated in a game-winning 15-yard touchdown pass to Matt Alamo with less than 30 seconds to play to secure a 16-15 victory over Bosco. Pitt Panther fans should be excited for that combination to arrive on campus next fall, as both Alamo and Patty are committed to the University of Pittsburgh. Lions will face Bergen Catholic next weekend, and St. Joseph Regional plays St. Peter's Prep next weekend. And that brings us to our most anticipated regular season matchup of the season in North Jersey. Sports Pass! And that's our 2 minutes. We're going to have to take this one into overtime. St. Peter's Prep and Bergen Catholic set to square off at Crusader Stadium on Saturday afternoon. The Crusaders coming off a bye week and an extra week of rest and preparation. Totally different story for the Marauders. They played a very tough DePaul Catholic team, and it went down to the wire. The Vinny DePalma-led Spartans had a 14-point lead midway through the fourth quarter, but the Marauders clawed back to within 7 with under 3 minutes to play when another Dom Maleo touchdown brought them within 1 point of the Spartans. Head coach Rich Hansen wasn't going to play for the tie. He opted to go for the 2-point conversion, and it worked thanks to quarterback Masai Mainer's ability to scramble away from pressure and into the end zone for the successful 2-point conversion to put the Marauders ahead 22-21. DePaul rallied and drove down the field but were unsuccessful on a late field goal attempt. DePaul plays Del Barton on Saturday at the same time that Bergen and St. Peter's will square off. Watch out for a special Sports Pass preview of the Marauders and Crusaders game later this week. We'll also have a Sports Pass reporter at the game who will be sharing updates and highlights on ScoreStream. If you haven't downloaded ScoreStream yet, make sure you check it out. Fans across the country are chatting, cheering, and sharing highlights of their favorite high school teams on ScoreStream this season. It's really taking off, and you can be part of the action, too.
This is Sports Pass.
Heading south for a stop in the Washington, D.C. and Maryland area. Maryland's DeMatha High School entering their game against D.C.'s Gonzaga as the 15th ranked team in the High School Football America Top 100. The Gonzaga Eagles hadn't yet cracked the top 100, but they were out to change that. The Eagles starting hot with 19 unanswered points in the first quarter. The Eagles D, led by big defensive tackle Malik Bridgman, stifled the DeMatha offense until the fourth quarter when they finally got rolling. Just when it looked like DeMatha might have a chance to have a comeback, a big Mr. Bridgman shut them down with a walk-off sack to send DeMatha away with a loss. Big implications in the top 100 with DeMatha falling to 38 and Gonzaga cracking the top 100 and into the 90th ranking. Jeff Fisher's High School Football America has the national top 100 and tons of state, regional, and local rankings from all across the country. Check him out on Twitter at HFSB America. D.C. St. John's College ranks 27th in the top 100 and 6th in their Mid-Atlantic top 20. The top-ranked team in the greater D.C.-Baltimore area is St. Francis Academy. They're 5th in the Mid-Atlantic region and 22nd in the national top 100. Undefeated in the season so far, the Panthers continued their dominant run with a 28-0 victory over the 14th-ranked McDonough Eagles. St. Francis boasts a stiff defense this season with several great defensive players, including Terrell Smith. St. Francis has Gilman this week.
The Northeast.
Circling back up north to finish in Boston, where the Everett Crimson Tide on the north side of Boston also happen to be on the north side of High School Football America's Massachusetts Top 10, sitting at number 1 with a 4-0 record. The Crimson Tide have been winning in dominant fashion all season. Even against a strong and undefeated Lowell team, the Crimson Tide looked fantastic and put up 42 points behind their stud junior quarterback Jake Wilcox, ultimately taking down Lowell by a score of 55-27. Wilcox was offered by Bryant University this summer. A few new offers for Everett players this week. 2 from Southern Miss, delivered to wide receiver Isaiah Likely and defensive back Mike St. Ristel, also both juniors. St. Ristel also recently offered by Virginia Tech. Everett crushing it this year, and with a number of underclassmen, look poised to keep it up for a few more years, too. The number 2 ranked team in the Massachusetts top 10 is Central Catholic. The Raiders from Lawrence, Massachusetts, having a great undefeated season so far, too. They kept it rolling over Haverhill Sunday, 41-7. The big matchup this week has 4th-ranked Boston College High School taking on 7th-ranked St. John's Prep. The BC Eagles took down Malden Catholic 42-6 last week. Running back Danny Abraham scored 4 touchdowns, adding to his impressive season. Abraham verbally committed to Harvard this summer. The St. John's Eagles won easily over Catholic Memorial last week, 35-17. And the battle between the Eagles kicks off Friday night at BC High. Another great week of high school football ahead of us. Make sure to check back for updates from across the country this week and for our special coverage surrounding the St. Peter's Prep Bergen Catholic game. For Sports Pass, I'm Doug Thompson.
Sports Pass National Week in Review. Join us again next week for the podcast recapping the best in varsity athletics from across the country. Until then, seek victory. Find your Sports Pass.